Yo, it's your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, back at you with a new video. Today is Thursday, October 30th, 2025, with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can, Cash App $ ORIONNWSF, or the YouTube Super Chat right here. We got Thursday night football, the Baltimore Ravens versus the Miami Dolphins. Kickoff is going to be here in roughly 5 minutes. So let's cue up the music, take a look at the thumb, and let's get settled in for some Thursday night football. Happy Thursday, everyone. That has missed some time. Welcome back to the NFL. Lamar Action Jackson. And on the right, the Miami Dolphin quarterback that struggled quite often, but had 4 TDs against the Falcons last week, Tua Tagovailoa. Can't wait to be able to see what we get here from Tua and Lamar here on Thursday Night Football. We'll be shooting for 100 likes, 100 on the Dono train, and 5 to 15 subs. And obviously, this is a battle of the bads. Obviously the Dolphins are 2-6, 1-2 at home for a reason. And with the Baltimore Ravens, a majority, of their record is because Lamar has been out. And again, if Lamar is healthy for the rest of the year, there's a chance that they could climb back into the standings. Now, I'm not sure if they would be able to go all the way to the very top and leapfrog Pittsburgh, but I have seen crazier things in the NFL in the past. So again, if Lamar, is healthy the rest of the year and they can get a few of those other bodies that have been a little banged up healthier as the season goes on, there is a chance. You got Lamar, you got Derrick Henry, you got Zay Flowers, you got Mark Andrews. The defense obviously is suspect at times, but again, definitely interested to see what we end up getting here on Thursday Night Football. Andrea in the building, what's good? Appreciate that. And that's a part of the experience as well. We want to make sure we're giving you, a great look, great music, obviously great thumb, and obviously great commentary with some analytics and statistics mixed in. And again, we are in that World Series crunch. So this is kind of the, middle of the week where we got a little bit of NFL for Thursday Night Football here on a global broadcast on Prime. And then tomorrow we'll end up doing World Series game number 6 between the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Toronto Blue Jays. And then depending on what happens at that game, if Yamamoto is lights out and they win, then I will be doing game 7 for the World Series on Saturday. And then on Sunday, there's 2 possible stream options where we can end up doing the Chiefs versus the Bills, and that'll be on around 1:30 Pacific. And then Sunday Night Football is something I'm definitely going to do, which will be the Commanders hosting the Seattle Seahawks. It just kind of depends on my voice and how I feel. Again, and even though the Bills and the Chiefs may not be as strong as they have been in previous years, I still think that would be worth streaming. Again, that's, AFC supremacy on the line. And we know there's a few other teams like the Denver Broncos, the Indianapolis Colts, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and a few others that are trying to, reign supreme. But again, it feels like Buffalo is going to make the playoffs, right? Just like, we know the Kansas City Chiefs more than likely will as well. Also got to throw the New England Patriots in that mix as well. Can't forget about Drake May and the unbelievable year they're having over there in the AFC. But again, it definitely feels like it's up for grabs. And for many, many years, it felt like, okay, Chiefs won. And then if anyone was going to beat them, it would be the Bills and then maybe the Ravens, right? Based on how Lamar played within the last 3, 4, 5 years. But now with Denver, Indianapolis, New England, and a few of these other teams kind of joining the party, it feels like everyone is a little bit more even. There's not really one team that is so much better than the rest, even though it kind of feels like, maybe the Denver Broncos, could be considered with their defense and how Bo Nix has been playing, as one of the top teams. But again, you can't overlook, what New England and Indianapolis are doing, even though, some people think the schedule has been pretty easy, and it has been to a certain extent for both of those teams, but still, to be able to get to a point where you only have 1 or 2 losses at this point of the year, halfway through, you have to give kudos to that. This is the NFL. No one is going to lay down for you. You're going to have to earn it every single game. So, again, when you end up seeing the records of teams like the Indianapolis Colts and the New England Patriots, in past years, they may have a similar record to the Miami Dolphins of being 2-6, but not in 2025. And I'm very curious to be able to see how John Harbaugh, coaches this game. We know Mike McDaniel's on the hot seat, potentially could be fired in a year or two. But again, with Harbaugh, based on his talent level and skill set, I don't think I've ever seen a high-profile coach and offensive coordinator combo, lose more games for an elite team than Harbaugh. I feel like a lot of times they have the game in the bag and they don't do a very good job in the fourth quarter or overall in the game, and they get out coached. But we will see if that happens here today as the Ravens kick off. Miami with the return down the sideline, tiptoeing in my Jordans, and a decent return there for Miami. .26-yard return there by Eskridge. Wallace with the tackle, and we'll see what Tua has in store. And again, Tua hasn't been great this year, but did have 4 touchdown passes against the Falcons for a victory last week. Pass right over the middle. Nice slant route. First down, Dolphins. And Jalen Waddle with a big reception there. First down, Miami. Move the chains. And that's a beautiful play right there. Good protection up front, little quick play action, not taking too long to go to his reads and do, these defenders are going to be cluing is when they look at the quarterback's eyes and then be able to jump those routes. But if you end up having a quick pass, within the first 2.5 seconds and you get that football out of there, that's going to be able to give Miami a chance possibly in this game if they can keep it up. 20-yard pass there, handoff up the middle. On first down, and a nice tackle there by Baltimore. Kyle Van Noy and company in coverage. Rush of no gain there from Achane. Kyle Van Noy in coverage. Second down and 10 in the Baltimore 37. And it is Blue Jays 3, Dodgers 2. And it kind of feels like the Blue Jays are definitely in the hot seat to be able to become victorious. Little screen pass. Achane with a gain of maybe 1 or 2 off that screen pass from Tua. Third down. Four-yard pass from Tua to Achane. Third down and 6 at the Baltimore 33. Marine being in the building, TJ in the building, Andrea in the building. What's good? Third down and 6 for Tua here on the Baltimore 33. 0-0 here early on Thursday Night Football. Global broadcast here on Amazon Prime. And we got an early timeout here by Miami. Mike McDaniel wanting to get the play call correct. And obviously getting points on the first drive would be very ideal going against this Baltimore Raven team that has Lamar back for the first time in many weeks. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. See what Tua can come up with after this timeout. See if they go back to Waddle again or if they look for Achane. And then also we will see if Baltimore brings the blitz on third down or not. Baltimore showing blitz. Shotgun set. And Achane trying to find the corner, but just no room there. And a good stop there by the Baltimore Raven defense, and now it is 4th down. Probably should have put that ball in the air on 3rd down and 6 rather than running it. They tried pulling some of the offensive linemen, but Ravens defenders took some really good angles there towards the sideline. 4th down and 4. Dolphins with a field goal attempt here. 48-yarder. Kick is up. And it is good. Right down the middle. 3-0 Miami. And again, obviously they're looking for 6 right out of the gates at home. But again, you'll take points on your first drive any day of the week. 3-0 Miami. Patterson, 48-49. Yada is good. 3-0 Miami. Great to see Lamar back there on the field. And we'll see what kind of 1-2 combo punch that we'll get here with Derrick Henry and Lamar on this first drive. And we assume Zay Flowers will join that trifecta as well. Dolphins kick off. Pretty good kick there by Patterson. And Ali returns it from the 4-yard line. And a decent game there for Ali. And there he is, Lamar Action Jackson. Patterson, 62 yards. 30-yard return to the Baltimore 33. Trader with the tackle. Handoff up the middle. Derrick Henry with a short gain. Good defense there by the Dolphins defensive line. (3-0) Miami here early on, and Derrick Henry rushes for no gain. Dodson with the tackle. Second down and 10 at the Baltimore 33. Mark Andrews shifting. Shotgun set for Lamar. Here on 2nd down and 10. Shotgun set. Dolphins bring pressure. Quick pass there. Nice job by Zay Flowers there with a quick grab. Third down and 3 after that 7-yard reception by Zay Flowers at the Baltimore 40. Shotgun set. 3 wide receiver set. And pass is dropped and incomplete. Rashad Bateman, the intended receiver, and that's not exactly what they were looking for on their first drive with Lamar back with the team. Should have went back to Zay Flowers again. And Lamar, in the past has definitely dominated Miami, but when you've been out for about a month, he'll be a little rusty early on, but I assume that he'll get it going at some point before the game is over. And a great punt there by the Baltimore Ravens. Nice job there by Stout. And they back up Tua and the Dolphins all the way back to the 2 or 3 yard line. I believe the 3. First down and 10 at the Miami 4, 3-0 Dolphins here early. 1,542 yards, 15 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions for Tua. Had 4 touchdowns just last week against the Falcons in a win. First down and 10. Man in motion, shotgun set, Tua. And Gordon with the carry, gains a couple right up the middle. Things getting chippy already here early with the Ravens defensive line. 3-yard run there by Gordon. Buchanan and Smith with the tackles. Second down and 7 at the Miami 7. Man in motion. Shotgun set, Tua. Nice little pass there with the screen. First down, Dolphins, but ball comes out. Ravens recover. And now the whistle is blown. Let's see if his knee was down or not. But the initial call is turnover Miami with the fumble. And Baltimore now is in striking distance with Lamar, Derrick Henry, and Zay Flowers, just like the doctor ordered. Oh, man, great play. Ripping that football out based off the replay there. That definitely 100% is a fumble. Great awareness there by the secondary as well as the linebacking core and D-line of the Baltimore Ravens. You had 3 Ravens there. One of them got his hands on the football, ripped it out. Big fumble recovery. And we should be able to have a Raven touchdown here momentarily. Washington ended up fumbling that and recovered by Gilman. Gilman with a short return. And now they're in striking distance of scoring here early in the first quarter. First and goal. Handoff up the middle. Derrick Henry rumbling and a bumbling and just about got into the end zone. Got down to about the 6-inch yard line, maybe the 1. And again, if they go to Derrick Henry again, or if Lamar keeps it with a keeper, it's going to be 7-3 here in a moment. Lamar, second and goal. Hand it back off to Henry. There it is. Henry again. But now the Dolphins collapse, knowing that Henry's getting the ball. No gain. 3rd down and goal. Loss of 1 there for Derrick Henry. 3rd down and goal at the Miami 2. Less than 9 minutes to go here in the first quarter. 3-0 Dolphins here early. 3rd and goal for Lamar in his first game back in over a month. Man in motion. Play action fake. Lamar looking. Back of the end zone. One-handed attempt. Incomplete. No good. And good coverage there on Lamar. Isaiah Likely, the intended tight end. And it looks like more than likely we'll see if they settle for 3 here or not. Taking the points would be the right thing to do. You don't want to leave points on the board, but knowing Harbaugh and Monken, they'll probably make the wrong decision and go for it. And sometimes you're going to get touchdowns, but 70% of the time you're going to get stopped unless the play is done perfectly. So let's see what they do here on 4th down, unless they try to draw them off sides. Man in motion. 4th and goal. Ravens going for it. At the 2, bootleg, Lamar, wide open, back of the end zone, touchdown, Mark Andrews. And the gamble pays off for the Baltimore Ravens after that big fumble recovery and rip and strip that the Raven defense had on Washington. That's huge. Touchdown, Ravens. And again, good protection up front from the offensive line. Obviously, if they had their protection break down, he wouldn't have been able to go bootleg, play action, and find Mark Andrews in the back of the end zone open by himself. Good eyes, good awareness, good throw, and great catch by Andrews. Extra point is up, and it is good. 7-3 Baltimore. Nice job there by Lamar Jackson, finding his steady tight end from over the years, Mark Andrews. He may not be what he was from a few years back, but still, when he's healthy, one of the more reliable targets on the Raven offense. 7-3 Baltimore. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on the dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. 8:25 left in the first quarter. 7-3 Baltimore. If you're just tuning in, Riley Patterson with a 49-yard field goal for the Dolphins on their first drive, putting them up 3-0 early. And then obviously after a big rip and strip by the Ravens defense, they end up getting the ball in the red zone immediately, and it only takes a few plays. They do have to go to 4th down, and they go for it. Lamar Jackson finding Mark Andrews on a play-action bootleg in the back of the end zone open, and Tyler Loop's extra point is good. 7-3 Baltimore. I imagine that feels great for a guy like Lamar, missing so much time. And again, you got to think, if he didn't miss a month, what would their record be? It probably would be closer to 500 rather than being 2-5. But if he stays healthy for the rest of the year and they start chipping away, they can climb back into the standings in the AFC North. Ravens with the kickoff. Dolphins take it out of almost the end zone. And great special teams play there by Baltimore around the 20-plus yard line. Nice kick for Loop. Eskridge, 26-yard gain. Jackson with the tackle. First down and 10 at the Miami 26. Nice return for D. Eskridge. Shotgun set, man in motion, and a little trick play there by the Dolphins. And a nice play by Achane and a nice fake there with the jump fake fumble by Tua. First down, Dolphins. Move the chains. Tua short middle to Achane for 19. First down and 10 at the Miami 45. Less than 8 minutes to go here in the first quarter. 7-3 Ravens. Second possession here for Miami. Tua, halfback toss. Achane bouncing it to the outside and gets past one tackler going high. And a gain of about 6 or 7 there for Achane. Six-yard gain by Achane. Second down and 4 at the Baltimore 49. Dolphins run a little bit of a shift. Tua under center. Ravens showing blitz. And sniff that play out. And Kyle Hamilton, what can you say? He's been doing it since his Notre Dame days, and big tackle for loss there. Loss of 3 by Achane. Kyle Hamilton in there, read it perfectly. Third down and 7 at the Miami 48. Less than 6:30 to go here in the first quarter. Tua, quick pass. First down, Dolphins. Move the chains. Greg Dulcich, the former Bronco, with the catch there. And a big blitz right up the middle, picked up nicely there by Miami. And nice follow-through throw there for Tua. Wasn't, definitely a little bit rushed, but was able to find his mark in Dulcich. First down, Dolphins. Move the chains. Tua starting off hot, 5 for 5 with 63 yards. I like that. Man in motion, shotgun set, Tua. And over the middle, and it looked like it was a little bit behind Jalen Waddle, incomplete. Second down and 10 in triple coverage. Lucky that wasn't intercepted. Second down and 10 at the Baltimore 43. Less than 5:40 to go here in the first quarter. Man in motion. Shotgun set, handoff. Achane bouncing it out to the outside, breaking one tackle and another. First down, Dolphins. Move the chains. There's quite a bit of offense here early already between the Ravens and the Dolphins here in Miami. 22-yard run there by Achane. Marlon Humphrey pushes him out of bounds. First down and 10 at the Baltimore 21. 7-3 Ravens with Lamar playing in his first game in over a month. and already having a early touchdown success for the Ravens. Allie Gordon, little short gain there. Roughly 3 yards, it looks like. 2 to 3. Second down and 7 at the Baltimore 18 after Gordon's 3-yard run. Kyle Hamilton in coverage. See what Frank Smith will dial up as OC for the Dolphins. Shotgun set. Man in motion. Tua. Screen pass. Good blockers downfield. But Ollie Gordon gets caught up quickly after the first initial juke. Third down. Third down and 4 at the Baltimore 15. Shotgun set. 4 wide receiver set for Tua. Pump fakes. And Jalen Waddle slips, but gets the catch there towards the sideline. 4th down and 1 for Tua and Mike McDaniel. Tua was shotgun set on 4th down and 1. And there was probably a false start there on the Dolphins. Take the points, Miami. All right, field goal unit is coming out. Yeah, you could definitely tell he's been very, desperate to come back, but, they didn't want to rush him back too soon. I mean, it's not like we normally see the Ravens with, Lamar on the team with a record like this, but, him missing a month kind of makes sense. Field goal attempt is up and wide right and no good. Missed field goal by Miami, 7-3 Baltimore. 2:36 left in the first quarter, 7-3 Baltimore. Lamar hands off, and a short gain there by Derrick Henry. Gain of a couple. One-yard run there by Derrick Henry. Brooks with the tackle. Second down and 9 at the Baltimore 26. 7-3 Ravens here early. Shotgun set, 4 wide receiver set here for Baltimore. Lamar, quick pass. Nice catch there by Zay Flowers. First down, Ravens. Move the chains. Lamar going to his steady target of Zay Flowers. Keep giving him the rock. First down and 10. Trips right for the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar hands off to Henry. And rumbling and bumbling up the middle. Gain of 6 yards. Second down and 4 for the Ravens. Second down and 4 at the Baltimore 42. 7-3 Ravens here early. Shotgun set, Lamar, design keeper, and that goes nowhere. Good defense there by the Dolphins. Butler and company with the coverage. Butler and Robinson in coverage there. Third down and 4 at the Baltimore 42. Let's see if Lamar can get a first down and keep moving the chains. First quarter clock running down. Lamar looking. Avoids a sack lunch, keeps his eyes downfield. Big catch. And Isaiah Likely, first down, Ravens, move the chains. That was big. And just as the first quarter ends, Baltimore with a big play there, with Lamar Jackson going to Isaiah Likely. End of the first, 7-3 Ravens. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on the dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. What's good, brother? Let's do a quick recap here for anyone that's just tuning in to the game here on Amazon Prime. So the Miami Dolphins and Tua ended up marching down the field, and obviously the drive stalled, but they were still able to get a long 49-yard field goal by Riley Patterson, 3-0 Dolphins. Then with the Baltimore Ravens, they end up getting a fourth down conversion, which is kind of gutsy, with Lamar's first game back after missing a month. And they end up going bootleg play action, and Lamar keeping his eyes downfield, finding Mark Andrews in the back of the end zone open, catches it. Extra point was up and good by Tyler Loop, and we have a 7-3 Raven lead. And obviously with that big catch by Isaiah Likely right before the end of the first quarter, it feels like within a few more plays, Baltimore will be in the end zone potentially again. but plenty of options, obviously, for Lamar. You can hand the ball off to Derrick Henry, even though he hasn't been as intimidating as he has been in years past. Has had a little bit of a fumbling problem this year, but one guy that you can count on game in and game out is Zay Flowers. He might not be the biggest name at wide receiver, in most NFL circles, but most individuals know if he gets the ball, he's very lightning quick, runs good routes, good hands, and he can get in the end zone. And then even though we know Mark Andrews may not be the same player as he was from a few years back, he can still help the team get some tutties from time to time. All right, second quarter here about to start. And Lamar very lucky to avoid that sack lunch there. All right, let's see what we have here. First down and 10. Lamar under center. Handoff up the middle. And Derrick Henry tripped up. Only a gain of a couple there. Second down and 7 after that 3-yard gain from Henry. And it feels like Henry goes down a little bit quicker than usual. Usually, in the past, he'd be breaking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tackles before going down. But, he's had a little bit of a fumbling problem this year. And again, Father Time is undefeated. Second down and 7 at the Miami 20, 7-3 Raven lead. The battle of the bads. But again, if Lamar's healthy the rest of the year, they should be able to get to 500 and get past the 500 record mark. They just got to take it game in and game out. Wide open. Touchdown, Mark Andrews. And that is number 2. And they have missed you desperately in the last month. Lamar to Mark Andrews. Touchdown, Ravens. And again, you can't have two defenders run into each other and think that you're going to be able to get away with it. Great ball placement, great catch, and obviously a great tutty there for Baltimore. And this is what the Raven fans have been missing, and this is what NFL fans have been missing. And again, even though we know the Ravens defense is suspect at times, I think that, most of us would agree that, when Lamar is healthy, we trust him more than Aaron Rodgers, even though he's had a pretty good year for Pittsburgh. And, who knows? The Ravens might be able to climb themselves all the way back into first place in the AFC North. And if they don't, they'll get pretty damn close, you would think. Extra point is up by Loop and good. 14-3 Ravens. Yeah, well, especially if Lamar is back, everything is good. The building, the hype is there. Lamar's playing. Because, again, when you don't have Lamar play, again, you're going to lose, game in and game out, most of the time. And it's not like the Raven defense is as good as it was in years past. It definitely plays in spurts. Sometimes good, but also sometimes looking kind of bad and giving up, big chunk plays here and there. But what defense doesn't, right? But again, Lamar, that definitely takes the pressure off Henry, opens the game up for Zay, Isaiah Likely, and Mark Andrews. And Mark Andrews looking like the old Mark Andrews with 2 tutties already in the first half. Could be a trifecta day for Mark Andrews. Jacob, yeah, at some point, I'll be doing some Blazer games. And then, if there's good matchups, to do, at some point, during the season, like, Spurs, OKC with like Wemby and SGA, something like that, I would definitely consider doing at some point. We'll be doing a little bit of Kraken and a little NHL as well at some point as we, move, closer to the end of the year. And then obviously we know NASCAR is starting to wrap up with the Cup Series. And, in the past, we would do a little bit of WWE. So, I'm going to be doing a little bit of everything since obviously the World Series is coming down to the potentially last 2 games, Friday and Saturday. So, we have to be able to fill the gaps during the week. And normally, we would do Mariners almost every day. But since the season is getting close to being over, then we will have to fill the gaps with some filler streams with some NHL and some NBA. And now coming back, Tua as a blocker, but you got to be careful. And making something out of nothing there for Miami. Washington, 7-yard gain. Wiggins and Buchanan in there with the tackle. 2nd down and 3 at the Miami 42. 14-3 Ravens, and Lamar is back for the first time for the Ravens in a month. And again, his impact obviously is being shown here early. And not only that, Mark Andrews has been in the end zone twice already. So again, Mark Andrews, not going to be really that much of a factor, when Lamar is out. But with Lamar in, you're definitely going to be able to get those looks. And Isaiah Likely's come up with some good chunk plays as well. Achane 6-yard run. 1st down, Dolphins. Move the chains. 1st down and 10 at the Miami 48. Ravens up by 11. Dolphins need to get a touchdown sooner than later. Play action bootleg. And catches made towards that 1st down marker. Greg Dulcich, the former Bronco tight end, with the reception. Dulcich, I did remember watching him at UCLA. Very athletic, but definitely has had the injury bug the last few years. 9-yard gain for Dulcich. Wiggins and Kyle Hamilton in coverage for the Ravens flock. 2nd down and 1 at the Baltimore 43. Tua under center. Ravens showing blitz. Tua going long, going deep, wide open, broken coverage. Oh, big catch by Jalen Waddle and a big hit, but he hangs on to the football. Flag on the play, and we'll see who that is on. But at the moment, 1st down, Dolphins. Wow. Looks like that might be holding on the Dolphins O-line, or illegal procedure, something. Illegal shift. What is it? They're taking their sweet time with this call here. And that was definitely one of the more exciting plays up to that point for Miami's offense. Wow, they called the tripping. I don't know about that. And the thing is, it's not like that player was going to get to Tua anyways. There was another blocker there. I don't know. That's kind of a weak call if you ask me. I mean, Miami's 2-6. I mean, they're not going to be able to come up with very many plays as it is anyways. And now Ollie Gordon losing his cool on the sideline there. Yeah, I don't know about that call. That looked like more, of him slipping rather than an intentional tripping. And that's a damn shame for Miami's offense as they get backed up now. 2nd down and 16 at the Miami 42. 3 wide receiver set from Tua. Good protection, floater, and a good catch, but I think he only got 1 foot in. Connor. And complete. 3rd down and 16 at the Miami 42. Third down and 16 at the Miami 42. Shotgun set for Tua. Ravens bring blitz. Little screen pass with blockers downfield, but getting a shoestring tackle. Roquan Smith for the Baltimore Ravens. Roquan doing Roquan things. And now that's 4th down and 11 after that failed screen. And they are at the Miami 47. And, Baltimore may end up punching in another touchdown here on their next drive. Wow, no fair catch. Wow, very ballsy return there for the Ravens. I mean, right now you guys are, sitting pretty good, but obviously with the Ravens and Lamar being healthy, they do have a chance on, kind of climbing the standings. We know the Bengals don't have Joe Burrow, so they're out of it. Cleveland is not reliable either, so it really feels like it's going to come down to, the Ravens and the Steelers, and the Steelers have the spot for now. And they played pretty good ball overall, up to this point. And really, we will find out, as the season progresses, if there's any major injuries for the Ravens and the Steelers moving forward. But, it should be a pretty good battle at the very end to see, what the records will be. And again, you got to assume right now, the Ravens are 2-5 right now, so they're a little bit behind the 8 ball, but anything can possibly happen. But, Pittsburgh has played like a playoff team up to this point, but again, you might only have one spot in the North that gets in. So, the Steelers are 4-3 right now. So it's not like they're, 5-2 or, 6-2 or 5-3 or 7-1. So Bengals are 3-5, Ravens are 2-5, Browns are 2-6. So, we'll see. We will see. It kind of feels like if Lamar stays healthy the rest of the year, that they might leapfrog the Steelers. So, but again, we will have to kind of wait and see how that plays out. But, you're hanging on by a thread in first place. But, if you're looking at some of the other teams in the NFL, they're quite a bit better. It's the weakest division in football on the North for the AFC. The Patriots are 6-2. The Bills are 5-2. That division is better. The Colts are 7-1. Jags are 4-3. That division's better. And then you got the Broncos at 6-2, Chargers at 5-3, and Chiefs at 5-3, and that division's better. So, and then you go to the NFC. You got Eagles at 6-2, Packers at 5-1-1, Lions at 5-2, Tampa at 6-2, and then the Hawks and the Rams at 5-2, and the Niners at 5-3. So, again, it's not really ideal, to be, with the record, just a game above 500. But again, you'll take what you can get at this point. But again, if Lamar does stay healthy, their offense is better than Pittsburgh's. And again, both defenses have lapses, Ravens and Pittsburgh, which are typically known as being defensive teams, but again, they haven't really played up to, their potential. And obviously not having Lamar is a big reason why, defense gets obviously tired when you're punting, left and right. And again, that should even out now since Lamar is back. And let's see what happens here on the next drive for the Ravens. Lamar dancing, and it's 12 noon. You know what time it is. Time for a Dolphin sack lunch. Yum, 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 yum. Sarah in the building. What's good? Yeah, I think the Colts have a very good chance of winning that game. It'll be a good test, for the haters that have said, oh, they haven't played anybody, and I definitely think the Colts could win that game. And, they've been a better football team than Pittsburgh overall. And again, I'm definitely excited to see where, some of these new teams, Denver Broncos, New England Patriots, Indianapolis Colts, on what they can do for the AFC in 2025. Second down and 20 after that 10-yard loss, but that sack lunch by Jones, handoff up the middle, and finally a good carry by Derrick Henry, who has had some fumbling problems here in 2025. Hopefully that will calm down. Yeah, but it wouldn't be shocking to anybody if the Ravens win the division. Pittsburgh, has looked, better early in the year, and as of late, they're starting to hit a little bit of a wall. Lamar, floater, incomplete. And Rashad Bateman screaming at the refs for PI, but he's not going to get it. And then there's a late flag that comes out now, but what is this flag about? Unsportsmanlike conduct by Rashad Bateman. I'm looking forward to it. Definitely a trap game for Oregon. And, with Wisconsin, with those Grateful Ducks uniforms honoring the Grateful Dead, it was a downpour. It was an ugly game. Dante Moore got hurt. The backup had to come in. And again, I'm looking forward to a tough challenge. And we'll find out if Oregon can find a way to get the dub or if Iowa will get the big upset. Definitely will be streaming that. I'm looking forward to that. And it's kind of weird to have the Ducks and the Bucks with a bye week in the same week. I don't think that's ever happened for me before. So, but luckily there's a lot of other sports going on to keep me preoccupied. And Ravens with the punt. Nice return down the sideline, but you got multiple flags coming out, and that's definitely coming back with a hold there by Miami. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on the dono train, and 5 to 15 subs. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. And we'll be doing the World Series game number 6 with Gossman and Yamamoto on the mound. And then if the Dodgers win that, then I'll be doing game 7 on Saturday while I be watching a lot of college football. On top of that as well. And then Sunday, we got the Chiefs and the Bills in the afternoon. And then we got the Seahawks visiting the Commanders for Sunday Night Football. So if my voice is feeling pretty good, I might end up doing both of those NFL games on Sunday. Steelers, then Falcons, then a bye. Falcons in Berlin. Interesting. Well, the bottom line is the Dodgers bullpen fucking stinks, right? And then they don't have enough guys that are hitting. So they just haven't been playing Dodger baseball. And it definitely feels like the Blue Jays are going to win it all. Even, if the Dodgers win, tomorrow with Yamamoto, with that game 7 and that crowd there, the pitching has been better. The hitting has been better. The defense has been better. The bullpen is better. Really, the only thing the Dodgers have that the Blue Jays don't is Yamamoto. And again, we know Shohei Ohtani, will come up big here and there like Freddie Freeman, but, the lack of production from Muncy and Betts and a few of the others have really hurt the Dodgers, but really the bullpen is really the different story in that matchup in the World Series. Don't think I've ever seen a bullpen that terrible for an elite team like Los Angeles. Pass incomplete there by Tua, 3rd down and 10. And again, at the very beginning, maybe a lot of Mariner fans were rooting for the Dodgers because we were still too hurt based off the loss to Toronto. But now I feel like the mindset has shifted, and now some of us are maybe rooting for Toronto because if Toronto can beat the Dodgers, then that gives us faith that the Mariners could do it next year or the year after. So, I mean, we made it to ALCS Game 7 and we're 3 innings away. One bad pitch from Bizzardo, a homer by Springer, and if that doesn't happen, we're in the World Series and maybe, we're winning it this year. So, something to look forward to. And again, just because, you're a powerhouse team, if you do have a weakness, it will get exploited. And now we got another 4th down here for Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins. Yeah, Betts has been non-existent, which is weird, right? Because he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, but you have to give credit to the Blue Jay pitching. That's a big reason why he's not, doing that well. Savage is a beast. And Riley Patterson going here for a field goal on 4th down and 6, 43-yarder. Kick is up, and this one is good. 14-6, Baltimore. Yeah, well-deserved. I love being able to see Colt players and Bronco players for you and my best friend Justin getting, acknowledged, with, RJ Harvey, and obviously Jonathan Taylor is playing like Saquon Barkley last year, and that's a big reason why the team has been so good. But also you got to give Daniel Jones credit, when he is throwing the ball, he's hitting the targets and the defense is playing well, and, everything is coming together. So, anytime you can end up having 5 or 6 wins, at the halfway point, or if you're lucky enough to be at 7, like yourself, then obviously you feel really good because it's been a minute, since the Colts were this relevant, maybe back in the Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning era. So, it's very, very cool to see. You always anticipate a lot of the good teams from the previous year being, great again, but sometimes that's just not the case. Or sometimes there's unexpected injuries that will definitely derail a team, like, for example, the Bengals and Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow goes down, Bengals are trash, right? But if Joe Burrow is healthy, even with the terrible defense, they almost made the playoffs last year with just solely him and Jamar Chase. Again, it definitely shows you defense wins games, defense wins championships, but I'm very happy to see New England playing good ball, with Drake May. We didn't really know if he was going to pan out or not. And luckily, for New England's fan base, he finally showed up with the right coach, the right coordinator, and the right supporting cast. And it doesn't hurt that they ended up getting Diggs, right? Obviously that's a player that is pretty controversial, outside of football with certain things that he does, and obviously not labeled maybe the greatest teammate at all times, and at some point he'll want his way out of New England, we would assume as well, just like he made his way out of a few other teams earlier in his career. But Minnesota and Buffalo to name two. But again, good to be able to see New England playing well, Indy doing their thing, Denver with Bo Nix looking like maybe they might be the best team in the AFC besides a few others. And, it definitely feels like it's up for grabs, and the Chiefs and the Bills aren't as good as they have been in the past. And it feels like it's actually attainable that someone new could make, the jump. And again, we will wait and see who that is. And then for the NFC, it feels like the teams are more well-rounded, offense and defense and special teams. So you got the Eagles, right? You got the Buccaneers, you got the Lions, you got the Packers, you got the Hawks, the Rams, the Niners. So it definitely feels like, it's definitely up for grabs on the NFC side as well, but it's a little bit more, I feel top to bottom, there's a little bit more well-roundedness in the NFC, more kind of offense first in the AFC. And some of the teams on the defensive side are a little suspect, but you do got some powerhouses on D, like Denver, as well as a few others. So, and a short return there by the Ravens after that made field goal by Miami. Best record since 2009. That is sweet. And if you need a quick recap, Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews, 2 tutties, and we're sitting at a 14-6 lead. Six and 2 in fantasy. Congratulations. With just the way that my life has been without fantasy, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to do it ever again. I was thinking, maybe I'll just take a year or two off, see how I feel. But, the way that I feel with all the other things that I got going on in my life, it's just much better for me to be able to focus on just Tampa football and nothing else. And, we'll see when it comes into next year if I do it again or not, or if I just end up being the commissioner and then I just let everyone else play. More than likely, that's probably what we'll do. So that way we can get, the troops together and we can battle it out, and then I'll just watch from afar and be the commish. Lamar Jackson, short middle to Mitchell for 7 yards. 2nd down and 3 at the Baltimore 35. About 7 minutes remaining here in the second quarter. Ravens up 14-6. Handoff up the middle to Derrick Henry, and just clipped of the first down marker. Is that an alternative to like ESPN or NFL.com? They have their own fantasy on that particular app. Is that what you're saying? 2-yard gain there by Derrick Henry. Phillips and Douglas with the tackle. 3rd down and 1 for the Baltimore Ravens on their 37. Handoff. Henry bouncing it to the outside, but getting standed up. And a big stuff there. And now it's going to be 4th down. What makes it better than NFL or ESPN? Does it have like more detailed photos? Like, what makes it better? They give you the score and who has possession. 4th down and 1 at the Baltimore 37. What's good, Andrea? What's your question? What's on your mind? 4th down and 1 here at the Baltimore 37. Ravens punting the football, and that is not something that we've seen often with Lamar. But again, it is his first game back in about a month, and I know they're very happy for that. And that bounces into the end zone for a touchback. Much more detailed, gives you stats and points. Now we got to wait till tomorrow. Even though I primarily, do the Mariners and we do baseball, but, obviously once that, season ends, my job doesn't end. I got to keep going. So whether that ends up being NFL, games to call, college football, NHL, NBA, WWE, NASCAR Cup Series, trucks, Xfinity, whatever it may be. And then obviously once we get back into March, then we'll get right back into baseball again from March until, October, November. I mean, I wish the M's were in the World Series right now, but we're going to have to be patient and, maybe next year. 1st down and 10 at the Miami 20. And let's see if the Dolphins can get a touchdown here in the last 5:37. If they can get something cooking with Tua and Waddle and Achane, then they can actually make this a little bit closer of a game. But if not, getting a field goal would be obviously ideal for them to kind of keep this game in range. I think Toronto is a better team than the Dodgers right now, but I don't necessarily think that they're that much better than Seattle. I mean, if Bizzardo didn't have one bad pitch, we're in the World Series, I think. So, but again, you got to crawl before you walk. You got to go through the pain before you have the joy. And it's not often that you get a team that just comes out of nowhere and wins it all. Sometimes you have to kind of, go through those struggles before you end up being victorious. So the pain obviously still hurts, but I'm definitely excited about next year and the years beyond. The Mariners, like I said, in the next 10, 20 years, we should be able to make the playoffs, like 13 out of the next 20 years. There'll be a few years that we barely miss it, but out of those like 13 years that we end up making it, hopefully we win the division, at least half of those years, to be AL West champs. And then, hopefully in the next 20 years, we'll go to the World Series once or twice. We may not win the first time that we go, but I hope in my lifetime that I get to see, the Mariners win it at least once. Same thing with the Oregon Ducks. Yeah, very possible. It could be, but again, Yamamoto is going against Gossman, so it kind of feels like it's going to go 7 games, unless Yamamoto ends up having his first bad game in the postseason. But I wouldn't really bank on it. It kind of feels like it will be Game 7, but definitely advantage Toronto. But you never know. And momentum in the crowd, could force Yamamoto maybe to struggle. And, Toronto could win it all tomorrow. It is possible. Achane. And a gain of about 1 there by Achane. At this point, it's still so early. We have to wait for the World Series to end, and then obviously we get into the off season, but same things that I've already mentioned before. Re-sign Josh Naylor, priority number 1, right? Get Polo signed as well, priority 2. Let guys walk like Caleb Ferguson, Eugenio Suarez, and Mitch Garver. Call up, Colt Emerson from AAA, so he's on the team, see if we can get a trade partner for Luis Castillo so we can move up Cade Anderson, and Cade Anderson could be our Trey Savage on the Mariners, next year. And again, that could be, the difference maker for us, having Brian Wu healthy, George Kirby, Logan Gilbert, Bryce Miller, and Cade Anderson, and again, with Luis Castillo's age and his production kind of being up and down, that could be the one guy that I think that we would be okay with letting go if we can get a trade partner because he's still signed with the team for, a few more years. But if we want to be able to get Cade in the starting lineup, somebody's got to go. And obviously, the only other guy that you would consider would be Bryce Miller, based off skill. But he's, quite a bit younger, so he'll still be on the squad. So, and we know that Wu, Kirby, and Gilbert are, the cream of the crop. But Cade is so good. Don't be surprised if he ends up having, a career kind of like Brian Wu, where you start off as the 5 in the rotation and then eventually moves his way all the way up to the top, in a few years. So that wouldn't be shocking to me one bit. I mean, Cade is a phenom. Flag on the play there, holding on Miami. Second down and 15 after that false start. Can't have these self-inflicting wounds. Get Jalen Waddle the ball, damn it. And obviously with no Tyreek, this offense, even struggled with Tyreek. But when Tyreek is out there, that obviously gives you another option, to be able to make big plays. Ooh, Jesus. Kyle Hamilton with a vicious tackle. That looked like some face mask horse collar. That looked violent. Clean tackle, but luckily his cleat didn't get stuck into that turf, because that could have been an ACL tear. Violent looking tackle there, but was legal. Shoulder pad. Tua to Washington for 8 yards. 3rd down and 7 at the Miami 23. Trips right, and that might be delay a game. Yeah, I mean, there's a number of things also, too. The bullpen is terrible, right? A lot of their stars haven't been good, with Mookie Betts and, Max Muncy. And, it's like you're getting a little bit out of Teoscar and Kike now. But, again, not really so much, before, game 3, game 4, game 5. Obviously, you've had moments for Shohei, moments with Will Smith getting hits here and there, and now obviously Freddie with the game winner in 18 innings. But overall, they've been outplayed. Pitching, hitting, defense, bullpen. Really, the only thing that's more dominant for the Dodgers than the Blue Jays is Yamamoto. That's one piece. That's it. And again, they're also doing this without George Springer, who is their second best player on the team this year to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. So it shows you, they may not have the biggest names, but they're playing together, and they have really good chemistry together. And, the Blue Jays look like they're on the cusp of winning it. And a big catch there from Jalen Waddle. 1st down, Dolphins. Move the chains. Judah in the building. What's good? But also, it's not just, Mookie. It's the team in general hasn't really been able to hit, and that's because the pitching has been electric for Toronto. Again, obviously, we've seen Toronto have meltdowns and have bad pitching with some of their starters in their pen, but nice catch there. There we go, Jalen Waddle, back-to-back catches. 1st down, Dolphins. Here we go. Let's see if we can get in the end zone, baby. You get in the end zone here. I don't know if Mike McDaniel would go for 2 to try to make it 14-14 all. I assume he probably would. But even if he doesn't, getting the game to 14-13 or 14-14 before half would be big. Yeah, Trey Savage, rookie, man. And again, I really hope Cade Anderson ends up being our Trey Savage next year and in years beyond. I've been really wanting to have a lefty in the starting rotation for years now. And a little trick play, end around, following his blockers, and a good tackle there by Starks from the Ravens. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on the Dono train, and 5 to 15 subs. Let's get it, baby. Commercial timeout. 2nd down and 7 at the Baltimore 36, 14-6 Ravens. I know, I saw that. I took my pup for a walk and then got a chance to catch it right there at the very, very end. And they were up 17 in the 3rd. And, I've watched pretty much every game for the most part, either replay or while I'm working. And again, they're great in the first 3 quarters. Splitter, we got a Brazilian coach now, and obviously he's working very well with Donovan Clingan and Yang. And it's nice to see Drew Holiday dominate. He's playing great ball. Denny Advia has been balling out as well. And obviously we're a defensive first, team for the first time in a long time. But again, 4th quarter, it's part discipline and also just, the other teams, get hot in the 4th quarter when they get their runs, and we got to be better. It's like we play fantastic ball for the first 3, and then for whatever reason in the 4th, I don't know if it's just fatigue, the wrong lineup, foul trouble, not putting that extra foot forward, for effort, whatever it may be. There's a number of factors, but definitely happy that we won, but it definitely got me nervous. When you're up by 17 going into the 4th, you assume you're going to win by at least, 6, even if the other team gets a run. But I'll take the dub against the Jazz on the road. And remember, we're doing it with no Dame, no Scoot, no Chauncey Billups, and again, we got a young squad, but, Shaden Sharp is fun. Denny Advia is fun. Klingon is fun. You got Yang Hansen, the draft pick, who doesn't really get a whole lot of playing time yet, but he's athletic and fun. So it's probably like the most exciting team the Blazers have constructed, in the last 5, 6, 7 years. And, normally I'm kind of anti-NBA, but with the way they built the team defense first, I'm, not necessarily back in to the NBA like 100%, but I'm definitely 100% in on the Blazers. Handoff up the middle. Achan breaks a tackle, bouncing to the outside, and a good first down there by Achan. Move the chains. Yeah, Holiday has been fantastic for the Blazers this year, and that's good because Scoot got hurt. And again, you knew that you were going to get some mentoring from Drew and Dame to Scoot, but Scoot is the future. But that was one of the, again, after losing, Anthony Simons, to get a Drew Holiday to be able to come into the lineup has actually been a better fit for us. 2-minute warning here in the 2nd quarter, 1st down and 10 at the Baltimore 21. Miami finally moving the chains, and they're getting closer here to obviously getting either a field goal at the very least, but I would love to see Tua to Achan or Tua to Waddle to make this 14-13 or 14-14. Out of all the NFL games that we've done on the channel, I think we've only had like 2 blowouts, and the rest of the games have been like really close and entertaining for at least the first 3.5 quarters. So hopefully Miami can find a way. But again, their offensive line isn't the greatest, so it's not like Tua's got a whole lot of time, to go through his progressions, but we will see. But I've definitely been paying attention to the Blazers. I watch Kraken games, as well. And again, it's a little early, to start doing Kraken and Blazer games, but I mean, the World Series may be over tomorrow. So again, once we go during the week, the NFL and college football, that's only going to be on for half the week. So for the other half, I need to figure out, an event to do, whether it be like a primetime matchup in the NBA, like if we end up getting like Spurs with Wemby and SGA and OKC, I can do that and have fun and enjoy it. I can always do, the Blazers, depending on if they're on at a certain time. And, obviously Kraken and other good matchups, obviously in the NHL. NASCAR is starting to wrap up. And I honestly wish that WWE wasn't so greedy, with their merger with TKO and then merging with ESPN, and obviously ESPN also merging with NFL Network. I just feel like $30 a month to watch WWE PLEs once a month is a little outrageous when they're doing that bundle with like Hulu and Disney Plus. Like, I already have those other things. Why can't they have WWE available for $10 a month? Like they did with Peacock and the WWE Network. So that way I can, do a live stream once a month for WWE, but we used to do a little bit of Monday Night Raw on Netflix and a little bit of WWE PLEs, but I'm not going to pay $30 a month. Now I can still watch it, but it may be a little bit delayed, but obviously that doesn't really work very well with streams. So. Yeah, but also, I have to be able to, I got to be able to look out for me. This is my full-time job. I'm not just doing this for fun, So again, I got to be very calculated in what I do. And, I can't just be working, 2-3 days in a row and not getting any support, so. Now, if people are going to support and I'll be able to hit my numbers with likes and views, and if people donate, yeah, I'll do a lot of NBA and a lot of NHL. But the problem is, a lot of times when I do certain things, sometimes we get support and sometimes we don't, and that'll definitely make my decision a little easier on what I do moving forward. I can't afford, to do this full time and not get, what I feel that, is deserving, for grinding it out for 3-4 hours a day, how many days in a row. So Tua, hands off. Achan. And a decent game there from Achan. Third down and 2 at the Baltimore 13. But I'm not really going to, again, LeBron and Luka and whatnot, but, I can't really enjoy myself, calling necessarily a Laker game. Like I said, if I'm going to do basketball, I definitely will do Blazers first. And then if I wasn't going to do Blazers, then, doing like Spurs or like OKC, that would be more enjoyable to me than, doing Lakers and whatnot. But, but I mean, if there's Laker fans that want to donate for me to do Laker games, then I'll start doing them. But, I haven't heard anything like that. So. But if the Laker fans come out of the woodworks and want to donate for me to do games, then I'll be happy to do it. But I'm not going to work for free. I wouldn't assume anyone else in the room would work for free either. Timeout is called. Fourth down and 2 at the Baltimore 13. Tyler in the building. What's good? And I feel like, I got the ability I can do anything. Basketball, baseball, football, hockey, NASCAR, wrestling, AEW, WWE. But, who's going to support if I do these certain things? That's the question. 5 wide set here for Tua. On fourth down and 2. Probably should have just taken the field goal. But we'll see what they do here. Shotgun set, Tua. And pass incomplete. Terrible throw, terrible decision, and they should have just taken the 3 there. But again, that's Mike McDaniel for you. Tua and the Dolphins turn it over, and now it's back to Lamar. First down and 10, Lamar. Scrambling, gambling, looking downfield, and throwing Mark Andrews into a dangerous situation there towards that Raven sideline. And we already got 2 tutties for Mark Andrews, looking like Mark Andrews of old. Second down and 10 at the Baltimore 13. Shotgun set for Lamar on second down and 10. Good protection up front, little check down. And Hill with the catch and a good tackle there by the Dolphins. And as the clock is winding down here in the second quarter, less than a minute to go, 14-6 Ravens, and second timeout called by McDaniel and the Dolphins. I mean, anybody can stream, but not everyone's going to have the knowledge. Not everyone's going to be reading, 4 or 5 hours a day or watching film every day, and that really, ends up being the difference. Anybody can stream, but that doesn't mean that you're going to really know what you're talking about. That takes a lot of time and dedication, off screen to be able to bring the preparation, to come into a stream, to know what's going on and to feel confident in, what you're talking about. Third down and 5. Shotgun set here for Lamar. Yeah, I mean, obviously you're going to get dumb play calls from both teams. Todd Monken is not really the brightest, for the OC for the Ravens. And Mike McDaniel continues to, kind of push the boundaries, by going for it on fourth down all the time. And his play calls really aren't, very good either. So, both of these teams, not the greatest with their play calling on offense, but at least the Ravens have Lamar back. And, more than likely, if he doesn't get injured the rest of the way, they'll leapfrog the Steelers and they will be the team that will represent the AFC North. But I'm not sure if they'll be able to beat anybody. If they ended up playing, Denver or Buffalo or Kansas City, I'm not sure if they would be able to beat them. Now, if they played like New England, or Indianapolis, as we continue to see, as they go through the trials and tribulations, they've had a pretty good start to the season. And it's been great to see new teams and, new players step up, but the lack of experience of being in the playoffs lately, you don't really know what you're going to get. Obviously, if you had a healthy Lamar, you would assume that New England and Indy would be underdogs, even if they had a better record, but we will find out, who is a contender and who's a pretender as the season continues. But I will say this, I do like what I've seen out of Indy and New England, kind of some of the newer teams. And obviously the Denver Broncos got a great defense. Bo Nix has been balling out. So, it may not be, Kansas City and Buffalo like it has been for the last few years. It could be someone new and someone different this year. It definitely feels like the AFC and the NFC are up for grabs. NFC's got more well-rounded teams on offense, defense, and special teams. With the AFC, it's more offensive oriented, and it's kind of been that way for a while. But we will find out as the season progresses. And Achane with a short gain there as the clock is winding down. Just take the points. And a lot of times if you have a dumb coach or a dumb offensive coordinator and you just get too greedy, I get it, you're 2-6, but by not taking the points, that's going to lead you to 2-7. Take the 3, and then you're only down 14-9. You just don't know how the game is going to end up. Now, if it ends up being in the fourth quarter, then if you want to go for it, and leave points on the board, fine, but never leave points on the board in the first 3 quarters. And I don't even like leaving points in the fourth. If you're going to leave a 3 on the board, you don't know how that might impact the game. Because think about how many games end up being decided by a touchdown or less, and how many games get decided by 3 or less. A lot, right? So Tua, little check down to Achane, and pushed out of bounds. Yeah, but also too with Dan Campbell, look at the offense that he has to work with. He's got Penei Sewell on the line. He's one of the best in the NFL, right? You got Montgomery and Gibbs, the best tandem at running back in the NFL. Jared Goff playing like a top 10, quarterback most of the time. Amon-Ra St. Brown and, Jamison Williams and Sam Laporta. You can go for it when you have a personnel like that, and that makes sense. Then you can get away with it then, but again, if you don't have a team like the Eagles or the Lions, you shouldn't be going for it in those kind of situations like Miami does. I mean, what does Mike McDaniel think, that he's got a Lions roster? I mean, last time I checked, it's not even close to that. And you don't even have Tyreek out there. So no, I know I can work TV or radio. I mean, like I said, people have been telling me I got a radio voice since I've been in my teens, before even podcasting was a thing. But, I'm totally satisfied on, building my dreams from the ground up. Here on YouTube, I've been doing this for, 13 years streaming, 9 on YouTube. Next year will be 14 years, 10 on YouTube. And I plan on doing this the rest of my life. So, as long as I continue to work hard, and gain the support, from individuals moving forward on the channel, again, I'll be completely fine. If there's other, groups of companies or individuals, that want to sponsor or, help the growth of the channel, depending on what it is, I'm not going to sign on for a sponsorship of something that I don't believe in just to get paid. I will never do that, but if it has something to do with dogs, something that I have a relationship with, that makes sense, Hoka's, Clifton 10s, things that I'm actually using, on a daily basis, then I would definitely take a sponsorship. But if it's just some random thing with something that I don't believe in, I won't take that. Tua, and it's 12 noon. You know what time it is? Time for a sack lunch. Yum, 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 yum. And the fans boo here in Miami. And it's halftime, 14-6, Baltimore. Because again, it's, one of those things, when you work for someone else, you're building someone else's dream. If you end up working for yourself, you're the one that's responsible. I'm the owner, I'm the CEO, I got to be the one that makes the decisions, and again, I'm, investing in myself. And again, it's not easy to be able to make it, in a social media era like now, especially with AI going to be taking a lot of jobs, from a lot of different corporations and whatnot. And I mean, I was already doing this before streaming was cool. I've been grinding it out for quite some time. And, it's just one of those things. You not only have to have the talent, but you also have to have the drive, the determination. You have to be able to know how to, speak very well, be likable, make great thumbnails. Obviously, we got great music. Shout out to Brooks Beats. But there's a number of things that you have to do to make yourself stand out compared to the millions of people that are out there that have channels as well. But I do think that you get better content on YouTube than anywhere else on planet Earth. It's better than TV. It's better than radio. It's better than podcasting. It's better than some washed up former athlete on the mic that doesn't know what he's doing or talking about. You're definitely going to get a lot of brilliant, talented, hardworking people that are working for their dreams from the ground up as well. 14-6 halftime, and halftime will be quick. It's only roughly 10 minutes. Do a quick recap of the game. Starting off the game, Riley Patterson with a 49-yard field goal, 3-0 Miami. 5 plays for 26 yards that went 2 minutes and 53 seconds. Then Lamar Jackson goes to Mark Andrews when they go for it on 4th down on the goal line. Bootleg play action, and ends up seeing Mark Andrews in the back of the end zone, 7-3 Ravens. Then as we go into the second quarter, Mark Andrews again from Lamar Jackson, 20-yard pass, 14-3 Baltimore. And then obviously with 7:57 left in the second quarter, Riley Patterson with another 43-yard field goal. 4 plays, 4 yards. The drive stalled, but at least they got some points, and now we're sitting at a 14-6 Raven lead. And again, field goals will not help you win a game if you're Miami, where you're sitting at a 2-6 record. But nice to be able to see Lamar out there. Derrick Henry doesn't look as dominant as he has in years past. Zay Flowers needs some more touches. Mark Andrews with 2 tutties, looking like the Mark Andrews of old. And Tua, I mean, what can you say? You know, some games he's going to look great, like last week where he threw 4 touchdown passes against the Atlanta Falcons in a victory. But in most games, he's going to struggle. You know, he'll struggle just to get 1 or 2 tutties. So we'll see how this ends up playing out. But hopefully Miami will get a tutty or 2 to make it a little bit more interesting before this one is up. 152 yards there for Tua, 15 for 22. Lamar, 8 for 12 with 2 TDs. $67 yards for Achane, 30 for Henry, which is obviously well below what he normally gets. Waddle was 61 yards receiving, likely 35 for Baltimore. 9 tackles for Roquan Smith in the first half. That's insane. 5 for Dotson for Miami. And we got 8 minutes to go before we get into the third quarter. Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about. I saw that article, come out, and it's not going to be, just Amazon. It's going to turn into a lot of other things as well. I saw another article where they were going to have, certain grocery stores that are going to have like iPad type tablets, on the cart itself. So then you can do a self-checkout there where you don't even really need an employee. You can do self-checkout if you want, and then you just check out the items within the cart with the items that are there. So obviously Japan has been doing that for years now, but the US is starting to kind of catch on with that type of, theme as well. And it's definitely going to be harder, to find, certain type of work, but again, if you are like an electrician or a plumber, a lot of these like data centers are going to need people like that. So those jobs will definitely be available. But again, how much time and money and schooling are you going to be able to get one of those? It's not going to be something that just anybody can do. So that might be the only job markets, for like builders and electricians and, plumbers and, people that are going to be making these like data centers and helping out with some of these big companies with this AI push, because it's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. 6 minutes to go here before halftime is up. Yeah, I saw that report as well. Not ideal, for all those people that have been working there for, a long period of time, or even if you're seasonal and whatnot. So there definitely will be a lot of people shifting to doing things online, or, side hustles or whatever they have to do to be able to, try to survive. But that won't really affect, me per se. I'll continue to keep grinding it out, just like a lot of other individuals, here on YouTube. So 10 first downs for the Dolphins to 4 for the Ravens, 1 for 6 on third down for Baltimore, 2 for 8 for Miami, 109 total yards to 225. But again, some self-inflicting wounds for Miami. And again, McDaniel, you would have to assume that he'll get fired within a year or two. I know that some of the ownership group likes him, but at some point, you have to cut, the ties with him and try to find someone else that can motivate this team, because it kind of feels like when he first got the job, that they were motivated and they were playing really hard for him. But it seems like, lately within the last year or two, it hasn't really been that way. It kind of feels like, whatever he's saying is going in one ear and out the other. And, obviously they've had injuries with Tua and Tyreek and a lot of their, big name players over the last few years that has led to some, bad records. But even when those guys were healthy, they still weren't really able to figure it out. Kind of a tough division to be in, but, it definitely feels like they are, needing a change. Not to say that McDaniel is a terrible coach. I wouldn't go that far, but, doesn't really look like he has the fan base support. And I'm not sure if the players are really playing for him, rather than playing for their own paycheck and themselves. So, okay, we got 2 minutes to go here before halftime is up. Baltimore is going to receive the second half kickoff. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on that dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. We'll be doing World Series game number 6 tomorrow, and then potentially game 7 on Saturday. If the World Series ends tomorrow and Yamamoto gets roughed up, then we'll probably do something related to college football on Saturday. Normally that would be the Ducks for me, but they have a bye week on the same week as my pro football team, the Buccaneers. So it's the first time that the Ducks and the Buccaneers have actually had a bye week in the same week, maybe ever. I don't remember it ever happening before in the same week. So again, it's a little weird not to be able to have those games to look forward to, but both teams have some injuries that need to be healed. And I'm definitely looking forward to going against Iowa, for Oregon, and for the Buccaneers to continue their dominance. Obviously, we've dropped games to the Lions and Eagles, and I don't have a problem with that. Those two are two of the best in the NFC. And considering all the injuries that I've had with Evans and Godwin and Egbuka and Bucky Irving in my secondary, I have to be very thankful that I got the MVP candidate Baker Mayfield leading the charge with a 6-2 record with, major key guys injured. But Vita Vea, beast. Levante David, beast. Antoine Winfield Jr. might be the best safety in the league. And again, I love me some Baker Mayfield, so we'll see where that goes. All right, we're about to jump into the third quarter here momentarily. Nice. Reseller on eBay. Fifth most by a quarterback tight end combo, 48 TDs for Lamar and Mark Andrews. 16 TD passes in the first 5 games versus the Dolphins, tied for third most in 5 games versus one opponent. And obviously, when you have Lamar, the vibe is better. Offense is better, defense is better, the energy is better. And again, I trust the Raven offense with Lamar than I do more than Pittsburgh with Aaron Rodgers. So, Pittsburgh might end up finding themselves out of the playoff hunt down, the next few weeks as we get further and further, into the season. But again, Baltimore needs to continue to win. They got to go tonight and go from 2-5 to 3-5, then go to 4-5 and then 5-5. And once they hit 500, then they're in business, and then you can start going above 500 and just chipping away. Sunday schedule for me is going to be Chiefs versus Bills in the afternoon, and then we're going to be doing the Seahawks versus the Commanders. So those would be the 2 that I would do. It just really depends if I, have the schedule and the voice, depending on what we do on Saturday. So we potentially could do 2 streams on Sunday. And if we only do 1, then I'll do Sunday Night Football based off the time, which would be Seahawks going to the Commanders. So we usually get a better viewership most of the time with, an option like that. So short game there for Derrick Henry. Yeah, Colts Steelers is going to be good. I definitely think the Colts have a chance to win that. They're playing better football than the Steelers are right now. 2-yard gain for Derrick Henry. 2nd down and 8 at the Baltimore 34. 14-6 Ravens. Global broadcast here on Amazon Prime. Man in motion by Zay Flowers. Shotgun set for Lamar. Good protection up front. Little check down to Derrick Henry. And almost goes down immediately there. Good tackle by Miami. 3rd down. Two-yard gain for Derrick Henry. Dodson and Brooks with the tackle there for Miami. 3rd down and 6 at the Baltimore 36. I love seeing Baker have a relationship with the offensive line, and the teammates will run through a wall for him, and he's got the perfect personality for Tampa Bay football. 3rd down and 6, Lamar looking, decides to take off, and getting that first down. First down, Ravens. And obviously, Lamar doesn't look as quick as he did prior to the injury, but still fast enough to get that first down. First down, Ravens. Move the chains. Great 13-yard run there by Lamar. Dodson with the coverage. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes. We're looking for our first dono on the dono train and 5 to 15 subs. And looks like we got a minor injury by a Dolphin player here that's down. Yeah, they also had an injury with Jaden Daniels as well. So if Jaden Daniels didn't get hurt, then maybe, they're going backwards slightly, but not as much. Usually quarterbacks have a sophomore slump, based on just their play like CJ Stroud did. And then obviously in his 3rd year, starting to try to, get back to, sort of the numbers that he had in his rookie season, but he won't get there, but, again, Bo Nix has been able to have a great, first year and 2nd year. And again, it also helps when you have a great defense behind you and, a coach that is, playing to his abilities, so not every quarterback is going to have a sophomore slump if they had a great first year, but definitely a game that you would think that the Hawks could win, even though it's going to be on the road on Sunday Night Football. It'll be a good test for them, to be able to match up against a team that they're better than, but they're on the road. So can they find a way to be able to get enough big plays, with Darnold and JSN on the road? And we will find out on Sunday Night Football. I mean, you're not going to get the same type of talent from Mariota than Jaden Daniels. So when at least Jaden is healthy. And Lamar to Isaiah Likely towards that first down marker. First down, Ravens. 10-yard pass to Isaiah Likely to the Miami 41. Ravens are starting to gain some momentum here in the third quarter to move the chains. Trips left. Shotgun set for Lamar. Shotgun set. Snap is high. Screen pass. Blockers downfield. And Zay Flowers getting bounced around like a pinball finally goes down with a short gain. Lamar Jackson to Zay Flowers with the short gain. Second down and 7 at the Miami 38. 3-yard pass from Lamar to Zay Flowers to the 38-yard line. Brooks and Fitzpatrick with the tackle. Second down and 7 with less than 12 minutes to go in the third quarter. Lamar with another screen pass. And Hill. First down, Ravens. Move the chains. Nine-yard pass to Hill. Judon and Dodson in coverage. First down and 10 at the Miami 29. Play action fake. Lamar right over the middle with the slant. Beautiful catch. First down, Ravens. Isaiah Likely says, hey, I want to be able to get a tutty for us. Mark Andrews has 2. Isaiah Likely, plays like a wide receiver. And again, he's got good hands, good route runner, good upper body strength, can avoid, the tackles pretty easily. And they are blessed to be able to have 2 tight ends to go to, most of the time, when Andrews and Likely are not hurt. 15-yard pass there, Douglas in coverage. First down, Ravens. First down and 10 at the Miami 14, and Lamar and the Ravens offense is threatening again. Mitchell bouncing it to the outside and gets a little bit of a shoulder check there by Fitzpatrick. Yeah, it seems like a lot of the teams in the AFC are lacking defense besides the Broncos and a few others, and it feels like the NFC has got more well-rounded teams, offense, defense, and special teams. Second down and 6 at the Miami 10. Shotgun set. Lamar. Plenty of time. Check down. Zay Flowers. And just short of the marker there. Third down and 1. And we'll see if Lamar goes to Mark Andrews for his 3rd touchdown of the game. Or potentially we could get somebody new in the end zone like Zay Flowers for the first time, or Derrick Henry. Or maybe Isaiah Likely. Tush push. First down, Ravens. Mark Andrews there, getting that first down. You got Derrick Henry with the tush push, pushing behind, and obviously with Mark Andrews' height, that's definitely going to be better than pushing Lamar after just him coming back, missing a month roughly. First and goal after that tush push was successful for Mark Andrews with Derrick Henry pushing him from behind there. First down and goal for Lamar and the Ravens. Man in motion. Lamar. Play action. Bootleg. Wide open. Touchdown. Ravens. And Charlie Kolar with the tackle. No. With the tutty. Kolar. Touchdown. Ravens. Nice job by Lamar. Extra point is up and right down the middle, and it is good. 21-6, Baltimore. Lamar Jackson to Charlie Kolar. Loop with the extra point is good. 21-6, Ravens. .809 left in the third quarter, 21-6 Baltimore. And again, if the Dolphins don't score a touchdown here quick, this one is already starting to feel like it's almost over. Raiders and Broncos. And obviously you would assume the Broncos will blow out the Raiders, but it'll be interesting to see, how Denver approaches that rivalry matchup. Looking forward to seeing that one. Let them know, TJ. 21-6 Ravens. And the Ravens kick off here. Dolphins with the return from the 4. And a good tackle there by the Ravens special teams. Flag on the play. $10-yard penalty there for Miami, and self-inflicting wounds, not ideal for them here today. $21-6 Ravens with 8:09 left here in the third quarter. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on the dono train, and 5 to 15 subs. Illegal block above the waist. We'll bring him back to first down and 10 at the 13. Tua under center. And it's 12 noon. You know what time it is. Time for a Raven sack lunch. Yum, 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 yum. Great job there by the Baltimore defense, by Urban and company. Urban with the sack lunch, loss of 6. Second down and 16 at the Miami 7. Achane, a short gain there to the right side for a couple, 1 or 2. Looks like he ended up losing a yard. Achane, loss of 1, 3rd down and 17 at the Miami 6. And obviously the Boo Birds have been pretty present, not only right before halftime, but not a whole lot to cheer for if you're a Miami Dolphin fan. Shotgun set on 3rd down and 17. Tua, check down, and that ain't going to get the job done. Pass incomplete to Achane. And the Boo Birds come out again, and it's 4th down and 17, and the Dolphins are about to punt. I mean, at some point or another, you just need Tua to sling it to Waddle, and hope that he either catches it or they get a PI flag, but just doing check down after check down or halfback dive after halfback dive, that's not going to get the job done against Baltimore or anybody for that matter. Fourth down and 17. Dolphins punt out of their own end zone. And then ball picked up there roughly around the 50-yard line. Flag on the play. Holding on the Ravens. 10-yard penalty. Another self-inflicting wound there. .6:23 left in the third quarter. 21-6 Ravens. Just about getting ready back from the commercial break, and we'll see if the Dolphins can force a turnover to get back into this game, but it's getting pretty lopsided at this point. I remember this game 25 years ago. I remember watching that game with Arnold in the booth. First down and 10, handoff. to Derrick Henry as he drags a defender close to the first down marker. Gain of about 8 or 9 there for King Henry. And obviously not really the same type of impact player that he has been in the last few years. Has had a fumbling problem in 2025. But let's see if they can end up getting him a tutty before this game is up. 9-yard gain, 2nd down and 1 at the Baltimore 49. 21-6 Ravens. First down, Ravens. Little toss there for Baltimore. And a nice job by Mitchell getting that first down. Three-yard run there by Mitchell. Chubb and Douglas in coverage. First down and 10 at the Miami 48. We got about 5 minutes left here in the third quarter. 21-6 Baltimore. Timeout by Miami. First down and 10 for Lamar. 2 wide receiver set, shotgun set for Lamar. Little play action bootleg. Throws it downfield. Caught by Zay Flowers. And a big first down by the Ravens. And if he was able to avoid that shoestring tackle, he would have had 6. Big play for Lamar to Zay Flowers. First down, Ravens. Move the chains. Nice job by Lamar. Going to his favorite wide receiver, Zay Flowers. Great vision, great hands, great route runner. Nice job there by Zay. 39-yard pass from Lamar to Zay. And they're down to the Miami 9, and they're knocking on the door again. Lamar calls an audible on the line. Under center. Lamar. Play action to Henry. Looking. Dancing. Keeping his eyes downfield. Touchdown, Ravens. Rashad Bateman with the tutty as he throws the ball in the air for the celebration, but there is a flag on the play. Holding, defense, penalty is declined, touchdown is good. And this one is a rout. Extra point is up, and it is good. Lamar Jackson to Rashad Bateman, 28-6 Ravens. Nice job by Lamar. All right, Lamar Jackson, 17 for 21, 184 yards with 4 touchdowns and no picks. Is that good? Obviously, Miami defense is absolutely fucking terrible. And Tua, 15 for 23, 152 yards, no touchdowns, no picks after throwing 4 touchdowns last week. It's all Lamar, baby. 28-6 Ravens on the road. Lamar doing Lamar things. And again, we have only had a couple blowouts out of all the games that we've done, and this looks like it might end up being our 3rd blowout. But again, we'll see what happens next week. When we have the Broncos and the Raiders, that might end up being a blowout as well, but I'll still enjoy my NFL. Appreciate you, Sarah. Every dollar counts. Stacks. Racks with a little Cactus Jack. Bang, bang. We're at 3:97 to go to hit the goal. Appreciate you. Every dollar counts. Thank you so much. If everyone had that mentality. Amon-Ra and Michael Pittman, both having, decent years. Obviously, Amon-Ra, we already know what kind of player he is. And, obviously Michael Pittman doing Michael Pittman things for the Colts as well. Michael Pittman Jr. And you got Zay. Nice. And Eskridge there with a 21-yard return. First down and 10 at the Miami 30. And let's see if we can get anything positive out of Tua. Obviously, if they go to Achane and Waddle, that's going to be your best options with Tyreek being injured. But again, this offense is not very productive. Nice catch there, though. First down, Dolphins. Move the chains. Obviously, Tua doesn't have a whole lot of time to go through all of his progressions either. So, nice catch there by Westbrook. Tua, hands off. And Achane gets stuffed at the line. Second down. I mean, based off this performance, it, would be probably a time that could happen for sure. I don't think that would shock anybody. 1 yard run there by Achane. But honestly, even if they fire him and bring someone else in, it's not like they're going to win any more games, unfortunately. It's not like, a new coach is going to come in there and they're going to turn into a playoff team. They just have too many holes on this Dolphin roster in 2025. Tua. Pass incomplete. Makes you kind of wonder, how the hell did he throw for 4 touchdown passes and beat the Falcons? But again, the Falcons have been up and down, and they didn't have Michael Penix Jr., and there's your answer. Going against a guy that normally doesn't play anymore in Kirk Cousins. So, but again, you're not going to play Kirk Cousins every week, and again, they were happy to get that dub last week, but they got a long ways to go. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think anyone really wants AR. I mean, really, the only team that could maybe get something out of AR is maybe like the Niners. They could use him in certain types of, play calls, on the goal line, or just like kind of like a gimmick gadget player, but it's not someone that you would actually be playing on a regular basis, but if he went to like the Niners, they could probably get the most out of him, out of any team, but I don't think they have any interest. McVay would be able to get the most out of him as well. I would agree with that. Appreciate you. Another $2 holla on the Dono train. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. We're at 5:95 to go. Vikings, Browns, Jets, Bengals, Steelers, Bengals, Patriots. There's a lot of dubs potentially there for the Ravens with Lamar back on that schedule. And, for them to be able to start 2-5 and then win the division, it's very possible, especially with the woes of the Browns, Bengals, and Steelers lately. Tua, and pass dropped and incomplete. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't want to be paying money to go to a Dolphin game. Yeah, at least they got that going for them. I mean, Jacksonville is better, and at least they got one good team in Florida and Tampa Bay. 28-6, Ravens. Shout out to Stranger Things for dropping their trailer this morning. Season 5, the finale, looks absolutely incredible. Can't wait to be able to see, how that plays out, obviously. And that's going to be on here in about a month. And they're breaking it down into 3 parts, in November, December, and then right before the first of the year. Toby in the building. What's good? Yeah, you're kind of in the same position as like the Steelers, Toby. Depending on how many wins you guys get will determine, how close you are, to be able to get a wild card. There'll be a few teams, trying to jockey for position, because obviously you're going to get the Bills and New England Patriots that are in, and you're probably going to get 2 teams, with the Broncos and the Chiefs, Chargers still in the mix. So realistically, you're probably going to only have one team in the North, the Ravens, more than likely, over the Steelers. And then it might end up being just the Colts, unless, some of these other teams end up having some meltdowns and whatnot. So, I mean, they started off pretty strong, but have hit a little bit of a wall. So. I mean, Denver's a good story. New England's a good story. Indianapolis is a good story. Bills and Chiefs may not be as good as they were years ago, but I still wouldn't count them out, from making a run. So. And I think I trust the Chief defense more than I do with the Bills. And the Chief defense may not be as good as Denver's, but yeah, I definitely could see the Chiefs making a little bit of a run. I mean, as long as you have Mahomes and Kelsey and Reed, Spags, and Chris Jones, as Derrick Henry is rumbling and a bumbling down the sideline. First down, Ravens. But we've been waiting for Derrick Henry to be able to open up this game, and you can kind of feel the body language of the Dolphin players. They were excited beating the Atlanta Falcons last week with 4 tutties by Tua, but the effort is not very good. And, yeah, if Mike McDaniel gets fired, tomorrow morning, that would not shock me one bit. Broncos offense is underrated, though. Bo Nix is a monster, I mean, he doesn't really have a whole lot to work with, and he's been able to make the most of it. Nice to be able to see at least two Oregon quarterbacks do something with Justin Herbert and Bo Nix, even though they have, Dylan Gabriel and Marcus Mariota in the league still and whatnot. But obviously two guys that are kind of at the top of their game, and the other two just trying to fit in. 1 yard run by Mitchell there. Second down and 9 at the Miami 49, 28-6 Ravens. And it's kind of feeling like watching, a varsity team go against a freshman team. 2 yard run there up the middle by Hill. Third down and 7 at the Miami 47. Also, too, Surtain is out for 4 to 6 weeks, so they do have the best defense. And, as long as they can, kind of mask some of those injuries and holes they'll have, we'll see how that goes. Pass down the field, incomplete. But I assume they're still going to be able to find ways to win games, even with Surtain out, potentially for a few weeks. I'm thinking Blue Jays in 7. I think Yamamoto is going to do what he did in his last start, probably pitch, 8-9 innings, and it wouldn't surprise me if he went for a complete game. Obviously, Blue Jays have the momentum, but I would assume that, if they get 9 innings out of Yamamoto, it's safe to say that the bats will come alive, and they'll get, 4 or 5 runs tomorrow. I don't know if that'll be enough, but if Yamamoto pitches the full game, it might be similar to what, Savage did yesterday, so... But it kind of feels like a 7-game series to me, even though the Dodgers have not looked good for a majority of the World Series. But the one thing that has been great for them is Yamamoto, and that's who's going tomorrow. So I would assume the bats will come alive. Yamamoto will pitch great. It'll go to 7, and then we'll see how that plays out there. So Raiders should be a win. Texans, that's a 50-50 game. Chargers, 50-50. Cardinals, you should be able to win that. Titans, you should be able to win that. Colts, that's probably a loss. Jets, that's a win. Broncos, loss. Colts, loss. So you might have 3 losses out of your last 4 games, but if you can clean up on some of those other teams, and there we go. First down, Dolphins. We haven't been able to say that often. Springer might be available in Game 6 or Game 7. On the injury report, it said he had a chance to be back tomorrow. So we'll find out if he's in the lineup, and if not, I would assume that he'll try for Game 7 if he's not ready for Game 6. 28-yard pass from Tua to Washington. Starks pushes him out of bounds. End of the third quarter, 28-6, Baltimore. And can we get Tua to throw 1 touchdown pass to Jalen Waddle before this game is up? We'll find out. Five and 3. Nice job. Lamar Jackson, 17 for 22, 184 yards and 4 tutties. 2 carries for 13 yards. What a beast. Tua, 17 for 27, 197 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Pretty big gap there. It's been all Baltimore. Great to have Lamar back, though. You know, whether you're a Raven fan or not, or a Lamar fan or not, you know, when you end up having one of the best quarterbacks back, you know, it definitely makes the league better. You know, same thing goes with, you know, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, you know, Jalen Hurts. You know, you want to be able to see the best of the best. Joe Burrow, you know, the league is definitely not as good when Burrow is not playing. You know, when Burrow is there, you know, even though we know the Cincinnati defense is not very good, you know, but again, throwing to Jamar Chase and being able to have that team, you know, awesome on offense at least is always a joy to see. But, you know, shows you like how much they rely on certain individuals. And, you know, if you're the Bengals, you should definitely be trying to get the best backup in the league, because it's almost inevitable that, you know, Burrow is going to go down with an injury at some point or another. Start of the fourth quarter, little check down there to Greg Dulcich, the former Bronco tight end and former UCLA Bruin. Yeah, or if Bizzardo doesn't throw the pitch right down the middle, I think we would have ended up winning that game 3-1, and then we get there. So even though, you know, the roster could have been a little bit better, you know, with guys like, you know, Mitch Garver and Dylan Moore and a few of these kind of weak links and whatnot. But, you know, again, we have to be very satisfied. We won the AL West, first time in 20 plus years. The Astros didn't make the playoffs. We ended up beating the Tigers in 15 innings in game 5. And we just came up 3 innings short with one bad pitch, you know, by our best guy in the pen, Bizzardo. So, you know, it shows you great players fuck up too sometimes. And that's just, you know, the nature of the beast, but we'll be back. Nice catch there by Achan on that floater. Tua to Achan for a 21-yard gain. Buchanan with the coverage. First down and 10 at the Baltimore 32, and hopefully we can get a few more passes to Achan and Jalen Waddle, since obviously Tyreek is out, and we can at least get the Dolphins with one touchdown, you know, before the game is over. I don't think that's asking too much, but based on their offensive line struggles and their bad coaching and play calling, you know, we'll see. And let's see if he actually completed this catch or if he dropped it. His hands are underneath it. Looked like there was a little bit of movement when he hit the ground, but I mean, holy hell, they're down 28-6. I mean, are really they going to challenge that? You know, just let them have it. (28-6) Baltimore, 14:06 left in the fourth. But it definitely feels like the players for the Dolphins have given up on their coach. And it kind of felt like that way last year also. You And again, you can only, give a coach a certain amount of time, before you get the feeling that, the message is not being resonated with the players. It's just going in one ear, out the other. They don't believe in each other. They don't believe in the coach. Looks like they ended up they won the challenge. The pass is incomplete. Call is reversed. I don't know. That's kind of like a petty kind of challenge there by the Ravens. But again, you want to make sure you get the call right. But now it's 2nd down and 10 at the Miami 47. A little insult to injury. They can't even get a fucking pass completed. Hopefully next week, Broncos and Raiders will be better, but I assume that you're going to get a similar type of, hopefully more production than what the Dolphins are doing, but you assume the Broncos will put up numbers like the Ravens and the Raiders will put up numbers like the Dolphins, but hopefully the Raiders will put up more numbers than Miami, but both two are kind of bottom feeders in the NFL this year. But I am excited to be able to watch the Broncos. I mean, I try to watch them, as often as I can in my spare time if they're on. And, I love defense. So obviously watching the linebacking core, the secondary, and, the Surtain injury is concerning, but they have enough guys that can get the job done. And Greenlaw is finally healthy as long as he doesn't keep getting suspended here and there, trying to chase down a ref and talk shit. And hopefully he can be disciplined enough because they're going to need him on the field while Surtain is, recovering from the injury. Oh, yeah, Moss has been solid. Absolutely. Tua to Dulcich there for 9 yards, 3rd down and 1 at the Baltimore 44. Largest deficit since 35-0 loss to the Bills in 2021. Tua almost intercepted Patrick Queen. What happened to my hands? And now it's 4th down and 1, which is a reoccurring theme for Mike there on the sideline. Trey McBride and Tyler Warren. Nice. Fourth down and 1, shotgun set, Tua, quick pass. And somehow, some way, completed by Miami. First down, Dolphins, move the chains. I mean, at this point, just give Miami points for every first down they get. Humphrey all over them. Yeah, Puka was killing it at the beginning of the year before he got hurt. Tua. Throw to the sideline, completed. Waddle with the catch. And now they're starting to gain a little bit of momentum here in the fourth quarter. Obviously not enough to come back and make this a game, but, at least, have something to cheer for, I guess, if you're a Dolphin fan. And they see a blitz coming off the edge by Kyle Hamilton. Tua gets scared and throws it into the turf. I mean, I knew fantasy took over my life when I did it, but I didn't realize how much it took over my life, because I would spend so much time, on the app and spying on everyone's team, looking at the wire and, looking at everyone's roster, top to bottom, and my own. And, it just kind of feels refreshing for the first time in like 10, 20 years that I'm not doing fantasy. And I didn't know that it would feel like this. I felt like I was going to really miss it a lot, but it's actually able, to have me focus just on the Buccaneers alone. And that's been a first in a long time. And, I've been really enjoying my time without fantasy this year. And again, will I do it again? Maybe, but I definitely like just focusing on my team and my players and not having to worry about all the injuries and, all the mistakes that were made, either in the draft or, for, not being able to get the guys that I want at the right time. So 3rd down and 12 with the intentional grounding there by Tua. A little insult to injury there. They're at the Baltimore 39. Just fucking launch it deep to fucking Jalen Waddle and see what happens. Shotgun set. Tua. Protection breaks down. Avoids a sack lunge. Keeps his eyes down the field, but nobody is open, and he decides to slide because he doesn't want to get blasted in the head and have a concussion and have that lead to some CTE. Fourth down and 11. And obviously the Dolphins will be going for it here. 28-6 Baltimore. 4th down and 11 at the Baltimore 38. Shotgun set for Tua. And nice catch towards the sideline. First down, Dolphins. Move the chains. Nice job by Jalen Waddle there. First down and 10 for Tua. Pass almost intercepted. And complete. Flag on the play. PI on the Ravens. And now they're starting to gain a little bit of momentum. Give the ball to Jalen Waddle. So that way they can at least get in the end zone once here. Obviously, Achane would be able to get in the end zone as well. Man in motion. Tua, little jet sweep. And, ball is out. And Ravens might have, wow. Dolphins with the big fumble. And the Ravens recover another one in this game. Wow. Self-inflicted wounds here. You got to hang on to that football. Wow, is that Washington's second fumble? Jesus Christ. Washington might not see the field the rest of his career. I guess when it rains, it pours when you're bad, huh? 28-6, Ravens. Dolphins fans leaving the building already with 11 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Halfback toss. Yeah, and based off this effort, it kind of feels like somebody's getting fired tomorrow morning. It's not like that's going to turn into a bunch of wins, but I mean, the lack of energy, the lack of effort, and then just poor play, self-inflicted wounds. Yeah, I can't wait to see what he comes up with, moving forward. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. 28-6 Baltimore. 19-yard run there by Derrick Henry. Handoff to Henry again, short gain. I don't think I've seen fans leave a game with 11, 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter all year. But I guess if you're a bottom feeder type of team and you don't see any effort, imagine paying, $500 to $1,000 to watch this. I mean, it's pretty much, you're not even watching your own team. You're watching Lamar. That's what you're paying the ticket for. 2nd down and 8. Lamar avoids a sack lunch. Wow. What speed and agility to end up making something out of nothing there, even though it was only a couple yards. Yeah, hopefully we end up hitting 25 by next season, during Mariner baseball season around that time. So, I got to just keep working hard. And then, obviously the better the Mariners do, the better the channel will do. And, we'll continue to keep grinding it out, depending on whatever that event is: baseball, football, basketball, hockey, NASCAR. And hopefully wrestling with WWE will, reduce their price and, have something available for like $10 a month. So that way we can do at least PLEs once a month. But, I'm definitely not paying $30 a month for a package that I already have those other things that they're trying to bundle it with. Jackson with the 3-yard run, 3rd down and 5 at the Baltimore 34. And Jackson sacked with a 6-yard loss. Big sack lunch on him. Ravens with the punt. And that dribbles out of bounds around the 18, 19-yard line. I miss the days when it was WWE Network or even Peacock. I mean, the only reason I had Peacock was just for WWE only. I mean, every once in a while, there might be something like Law and Order SVU that I might watch on there. But, just kind of sad how greedy that, TKO and WWE have been, not only with that subscription service being insanely priced, but ticket prices have doubled since Vince was booted out. And obviously we know Vince McMahon is a monster. And but again, it kind of feels like wrestling was, he as a person, not good, but wrestling, might have been a little bit better for certain aspects as far as like the price, to be able to go to an event or to be able to watch, maybe the card and the actual, wrestling, matches they put together wasn't maybe the greatest by Vince. And obviously Triple H has been better for the most part there. But even recently, it seems like they've been not as good, coming up with storylines and whatnot. So we got 8 minutes to go before this blowout ends. 28-6 Ravens. And again, we will be doing World Series game number 6 tomorrow. And it'll be Gossman versus Yamamoto. And then we will go to potentially game 7 on Saturday. But if the Blue Jays win the World Series tomorrow, then we will more than likely do something college football related on Saturday versus the Bills in the afternoon. And if I get that game here locally, we'll do that. And then we also have Seahawks and Commanders on Sunday Night Football, which we'll do. And then I haven't even looked forward to the rest of the week which I'll do right now to see what we kind of have on tap. And then it's what? Arizona versus Dallas on Monday night. And then we obviously know it's going to be Denver versus the Raiders on Thursday night. And then Pittsburgh versus the Chargers on that following Sunday night. And then a really good one on November 10th, Eagles at Green Bay. That one will be good. I'm not really a big fan of Rome. I respect, he's been able to do what he's been able to do for years and years and years and whatnot. But, I love wrestling. But even with that being said, I haven't really been watching, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, or the WWE PLE since they raised the price and they joined ESPN. I'm not boycotting them, but it just, I just have other things that, that have been a little bit, more interesting. And, at this point, if I have to watch the Blazers or the Kraken, I'd rather watch them than watch WWE at this point. But if they're able to come to a lower price point to be able to, make it more affordable for people, then I'll definitely pay, but I'm not paying more than $10 a month. And I'm not sure if that will be available or not. So we'll see. I do college basketball, but typically only during March Madness, because again, there's like a lot of things that I can do, but am I going to get support? It's like I could do NBA, I could do NHL, I could do, WWE, I could do, certain things, but again, am I going to get anyone to support? Because again, this is my full-time job and I have bills to pay too. So, I just can't be doing all these random, games and not getting any support. So we'll see, as we move forward, and we'll kind of, I'll definitely check the stats and the analytics, and, we'll decide based on, the support that we get and the views and the subs and the donos, and that'll reflect what we do moving forward. Second down and 10 at the Miami 34, another incomplete pass by Tua. Yeah, everything has, again, this is not just some side hustle or some hobby. I've invested my whole life into this channel, so I have to be very calculated. And Tua goes deep, and pass is intercepted by the Ravens. And if things couldn't get any worse for Miami, it just did. And we got a flag on the play, and we'll see who this is on. But again, I mean, if, there are certain fans that are willing to donate if I do a certain game, like to do Laker games or to do Spurs games, I would definitely do it if we're going to get the support. But again, that's the thing, I got to have people reach out to me and have them stay true to their word, for me to go out of my way to do something that normally I wouldn't do. So, but I don't really feel like anything is out of grasp, NBA, NHL, whatever. It doesn't really matter, but we'll definitely have to have some filler content until we get back into baseball season next year. And a great pick there by Starks. And then Washington gets fucking drilled by Kyle Hamilton. After that illegal blindside block, Lamar hands off to Henry, and a short gain of a couple. Well, let's hope that the Raiders have more than what we've seen from the Dolphins here today. We assume that the Broncos, will blow them out, but it is a divisional matchup. So hopefully the Raiders will get up. It'll be a trap game for Denver next Thursday. And, we assume Denver and Bo Nix and that amazing defense will win. But, hopefully the Raiders put up at least 14 to 20 points, which may be tough, but, we'll see. Second down and 9. Handoff again to Henry, and a good stuff there by the Miami D-line. Judon with the tackle. It'd be tough being a Dolphin fan. You had the Dan Marino era, which was fun, but since then, they haven't really had too much to cheer for. You had Ricky Williams for a few years. You had, something going with Tyreek and Waddle a few years ago with Tua, but third down and 10. Play action fake. Lamar wide open in the middle of the field. First down, Ravens. Charlie Kolar getting some action here again. And the middle of the field has been wide open all day for the Baltimore Ravens. Nice job by Lamar to Charlie Kolar. First down, Baltimore. Move the chains. $20-yard pass from Jackson to Kolar. And just a few more running plays and a few more, passing plays, and this one will be over. But again, I haven't seen any NFL game to see their fan base leave with like 12 minutes left in the fourth. This was the first time I've seen that. But again, I understand why. They want to be able to get, out of the traffic, and the Dolphins obviously are not competitive whatsoever. And big run there by Derrick Henry. First down, Ravens. And I was hoping that, Tua would throw for at least a touchdown pass, and they would get maybe one on the ground with Achane, but no such luck here today against a very motivated Baltimore Raven team with Lamar Jackson back in the lineup. And based on what we've seen today, it almost feels like it's a given that they're going to end up winning the division over the Steelers as long as Lamar doesn't get hurt the rest of the way. And same thing with Henry and Flowers and Andrews and some of the key guys that they have, like Likely as well. Handoff up the middle. But the lack of effort is very concerning. And again, the players are playing on the field, but just like Marine Bean said, I would not be shocked if they ended up firing, McDaniel tomorrow morning. But again, who would they have step in? It's not like they have anybody that's going to come in there and turn the ship around. I mean, they're potentially tanking to get, a top 3 pick in the draft. And even if you get that, there's no guarantee that, the drafts alone is going to be enough to turn the team around. Seems like they have to rebuild this team, from the ground up. And, maybe in 3, 4, 5 years, they might have something competitive. But at least in the short-term future, it doesn't look like it. Run up the middle for a short gain. Did he get the first down? And under 3 minutes to go here before this one is over. 28-6, Ravens. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on that dono train, and 5 to 15 subs. Third down and 1, and they got Andrews. Tush push with Derrick Henry from behind. First down, Ravens. Yeah, there's not very many teams that would be really interested in Tua, and there's only a few teams that would be able to get more out of him. Like if he went to the Niners or the Rams with Sean McVay or Kyle Shanahan, Tua would be a better player. Based on what they have supporting cast-wise, coach-wise, and play-calling-wise. But other than those couple teams, I don't really see too many teams that would really want him. And obviously the Niners and Rams don't need him, So he's kind of in a position where if he's not careful, at some point he's going to turn into a backup quarterback and like Marcus Mariota, and that's where he's going to be for the rest of his career until his playing days are over. He's getting to a point where, he will have a few good games throughout the year, but even switching teams, if he doesn't go to like the Niners or Rams, he's going to play like he's been playing here somewhere else. Like imagine if he went to the Browns, it's not like he would be better there, or a team like that, I'm not sure really if that many teams would really want a guy that's left-handed that has concussion problems that doesn't really have the it factor, Like you might be able to have Tua as your backup. He would make a good backup quarterback. He would be a top 5 backup, but as far as starter, I think most, teams would probably forego him and just, look for free agents or the draft next year. Not really a whole lot of upside for Tua at this point in his career, unfortunately. And now we're at the 2-minute warning after that, and the clock keeps ticking down here. Bad starts to making the playoffs, 1-5. 2015 Chiefs, 2018 Colts, 2020 Washington football team. So Ravens could do it. 1970 Bengals. And again, it's not like the Steelers started off strong but kind of hit a wall. And then the Bengals and Browns are not very good either. So for the Ravens with Lamar to come back from 1-5 and win the division is very likely. And a little kneel down there. And now we're at 3rd down and 8. And this has been an ass whooping, to say the least. And hopefully the Dodgers put up more of a fight than the Dolphins did here today. And I assume that they will with Yamamoto on the mound. Very good chance that he pitches 8 or 9 innings, and the Dodgers end up getting some run support tomorrow. Will it be enough to, force a game 7? I don't know. We'll find out. But if Yamamoto pitches like Savage did, there's a good chance it'll go 7 games. But even if that's, what happens, it still seems like Toronto has a very good chance to win. And that is it. Final score, Ravens 28, Miami Dolphins 6, which this game was a little bit more competitive. But, again, you can only ask so much out of a team that doesn't really try for their head coach, even though Tua did have 4 touchdown passes against the Falcons last week. Well, I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very much. If you haven't hit the like button yet, please do. Smash it on your way out. Appreciate every single person that liked, subbed, donated, commented, shared, and appreciate every single one of y'all, and look forward to seeing you guys, obviously, tomorrow. Shout out to Sarah to help out with the Dono train. Every dollar counts, and I appreciate you guys very, very much. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Like, sub, donate, comment, share on your way out. And I got one question for you. Who talks sports like us? Final score, Ravens 28, Dolphins 6. And I will be live tomorrow for World Series game number 6. And it'll be much better than, obviously, tonight's game. Unfortunately, the Dolphins did not show up, but Lamar did. So that was exciting, at least on that end. And we will have the Los Angeles Dodgers going against the Toronto Blue Jays, Yamamoto versus Gossman, and hopefully that'll be a good one tomorrow. Love you guys, and I appreciate you guys. And I got one question for you. Who talks sports like us? Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, and I'm out. Gang.